Good morning, good morning, good morning, Now Nation. Welcome to the huddle. I'm so excited you're here today. I'm Michelle Roderick, aka the General, co-founder of Now Nation, and one of your weekly huddle hosts at Now Nation. We believe aligned leaders grow faster and more powerfully together by combining our unique strengths, experiences, and visions. We elevate our value proposition, create greater impact, and accelerate growth across every organization building something together that none of us could achieve alone.
That's
So,
right.
for those of you that are new here, welcome. Here's how we run things. Our huddles follow a basketball theme. Every week of the month is called a quarter, so don't get confused. Each focused on a specific area of your business growth. So, for example, the first quarter, first week of the month is tech and AI, second quarter's lead gen, third quarter system and process, and fourth quarter client presentation and engagement. And when there's a fifth week in the month, we go into overtime featuring agent attraction, leadership conversations, and guests you absolutely don't want to miss. So, before we dive in, a few quick housekeeping items. Please mute yourself when you're not speaking so we can keep the audio clean. Please turn your video on so that, out of respect for our guest speaker, we love to see your faces. And engagement, as you know, is always encouraged. So drop your thoughts, reactions, questions in the chat, and let's make this a conversation and not just a presentation. So let's get it going. I am so pumped about our guest today. I've had the pleasure of having her on a couple of our Now Nation calls in the past. She's a top 1% agent nationwide, a powerhouse producer with over 1,300 homes sold and more than 650 million in sales. EXP has named,
I don't want to remember the
uh-oh,
numbers.
we're not muting. Okay. EXP has named her one of their top 50 individual agents in 2022, 2023. She's the team leader of the Kim Frasier team, and she's here today to show us exactly how to farm your way to new listings. And if you don't know Miss Kim Frasier, you're going to know her today because she brings the heat. Welcome, Kim. Floor's yours.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It's great to be here today. And I need to update my bio. My numbers are a little stronger now than they were then. So about 1,500 homes sold, a little over 850 million in sales volume. On track this year to do over 100 million in sales volume. Last year, I was number 11 in the company, 13, 15, and 18 years before that. And since we started recording. And the first year is number 15. First we started recording and they missed a $3 million closing like last of end of December. So I called
Oh,
Sean and
man.
I said, "Hey, I'm actually number 15." He's like 15, 18, like it matters. And I was like, "No, it matters." I'm like,
The
"Who do you
numbers
think we
matter.
are?" I'm like, "Who do you think we are?" "No, it matters, Sean." I'm like, "Fix it, Murphy," but he didn't. So anyway, so last year it was awesome because I thought I was finally going to break the top 10 in the company. And when the thing came out in March, I was number 11 by $200 in sales volume.
Oh, man. Well,
Oh, so I'm motivated,
Ouch.
motivated. Yeah, doesn't that
yeah.
suck, Randy? It sucks.
Ouch. I would
So
have I would have
I
wired
was
you 250.
so irritated. I was just like, I really, those competitive people. I just wanted to make sure I got into the room for the luncheon or the dinner at, EXPCon and stuff. But, they generously let number 13 in last year. So it's a good time. I love the collaboration and competition that we have within ourselves here at EXP. Everybody lifting each other up. So it's super exciting. I'm currently number 8 in the company, about 8 million behind number 1, and I have 16 million pending. So my goal by the end of the
Yeah.
month, hopefully I'll be the number 1 agent in the company out of our 80 something thousand agents. So with that being said, my dear friends, I was formerly at John L. Scott, for those of you in the room that are familiar with John L. Scott, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and California, a little bit of California. I was the number 1 agent there the last 2 years. I was there before making the move to EXP 5 years ago. So my 5-year anniversary is coming up here on July 1st is one of my cap resets. So super excited. And I've been honored to spend time with all of you. Well, not all of you, a handful of you at a high level. So I'm super grateful to be here. So that's a little bit of housekeeping behind the scenes. I am married. I've been married to my husband and oh hi Nikita. I see her on there. Randy's right arm when we're doing these events. I'm a mom of 6, grandmother to 9. I got my real estate license and my youngest kid was 2 weeks old. My youngest daughter, I would literally nurse go to my open house, come back, nurse, and then go again. So I had 6 kids under the age of 10 when I started, starting my 25th year in real estate. So for those of you that may have kids at home or know people have kids at home, I'm happy to hopefully inspire and bring some insight.
Wait a
My
minute,
husband
Kim.
does,
You have 6 kids and 9 grandkids?
yes.
Do you know we have 6 kids and 8 3/4 grandkids?
Oh my gosh, we're like twins. We're
Number
just,
9 on the way in
That just
September.
even makes your story more amazing. I
I
got to be
love
honest with you.
that.
That
I
is
love that.
incredible.
Thank you so much.
I
So
love
yeah,
it. Thank you.
They were little. And I got my license in the middle of '02. And in '05, I sold 101 houses that year. And a lot of it had to do with farming. And so that's the topic of our conversation today. So I wanted to bring you guys back a little bit to what I've accomplished at this point. Big runway going forward. So there's a lot of room. Getting ready. And I don't even do my expired and cancel. I don't do expired cancels. I actually don't even do my database or my sphere. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. So a lot of this does come through farming. I was telling my sponsor, Adam, yesterday, I said, I really should start focusing on calling my database. And he starts laughing because he knows I never do it. And I did my first client event this year, and it was a hit at my house for Christmas. But I think to guarantee that #1 spot, I'm going to have to dig a little deeper than just farming and open houses. So watch me rise. So let's go. So one of the things that we do aggressively, we mail out to 15,000 homes a month in our farm. Okay. So farming has been an integral part of our business pretty much from the outset in 2002. What we started with, like a neighborhood of about 500 to 1,000 homes. Okay, we started there and then worked our way up. And so what you want to do, the most important thing about farming is not starting too big. You want to start with a number that you can easily market to consistently. The worst thing you do is onesie, twosie, mailing out once a quarter. Don't waste your time. It's really hard to be top of mind and staying in front of people if you're not committed to doing it consistently. So you're better off starting small and then more consistency and then growth outside of that and get even bigger segments of one neighborhood. So say if a neighborhood has 3,000 people, you're better off focusing on 500, like one section of that community, and then keep going and going and going and going. And then you get more money, and then you break out to 750, add 250 or another 500. And then you kind of double your footprint, right? Because they're going to see your signs. They're going to see your open house signs, things like that. And then it'll start taking on a life of its own. So when I started farming this one particular neighborhood, one second here, I have a team that's staging and they're like freaking out. Okay, here. Okay. So I have 3 listings going live this week in staging. I've been staging like the last couple of days, like 12 hours a day with my team. So it's been kind of crazy. So this is my one break from all of it for a second. So we started with about 1,000 homes. We're up to 15,000 homes a month currently. So we have a really, really large farm that we do. It's in 4 neighborhoods. One is the lake that I live on. One is about 5 miles away, and that's where I started my farming 23 years ago. And then one's about 8 miles away on the other side of town. And then one is about 25 miles north. So don't feel like your farm has to be directly in your backyard, because I wanted the price point to be higher. I do a lot of luxury listings. I think my average price point right now is about 1.2 million on average. So, but I have stuff at 400,000. I have stuff at 7.5 million. Right. So I have a big range. And so I sold a 315 condo this year. So, and that was probably one of the hardest deals I've done this year. It was like so much hand holding. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're killing me. And then I'm like, don't bring my numbers down. Don't bring my numbers down. So in the beginning, you only have 10 closings, and then it's like you have a 315 and a 400. You're like, oh, my numbers are tanking. But we take everything. I mean, I probably don't do anything under like 200 because it's just not worth my time. Probably I could refer it to somebody and give it to them for free. So, so we market out, we do a pretty large swath of farming. So these are the criteria that I use when I determine a farm. Would I live there? Would I invest there? Would I want my kids to buy there? Would I want to sell it to a friend or family member? If any of those things there's no way in God's green earth I would ever live there. I would ever own it. Like whether it's a first time buyer, like as a first time buyer, would you have purchased it? As a step down buyer, would you have purchased it? Would you sell it to your kids? Would you sell it to your mom and dad? If the answer is no to any of those, I don't market to it because I want to have confidence and believe in the product that I'm selling and the community that I'm promoting. Right. So if you can't confidently say like, I love this, this is a great neighborhood. It's got great schools. It's got great walkability. The parks are amazing. It's super close to town. It's easy commuting. There's a lot of upward potential. It's near a college. Unless there are things that you can really get behind to show the value of why it's a good investment, I don't market to it. I don't. And I've come in and out of markets. So, like, I bet you we've probably dropped 10 or 15 markets over the years. And then some we've come back to because, like, the seasonality of it, like during 08, well, 9, 10, 11, 12, we kind of got out of farming because I really didn't want listings for a while there. Do you guys remember those days when a listing would take a year? You take a year-long listing and then you literally had to like renew it. And I'm like, you couldn't sell houses. And then at that point, you really wanted to be a buyer's agent because people were having a hard time selling their homes. They were all upside down. You know, '07 through 2012, it was a really tough time. So we kind of pulled out of farming at that point and then recalibrated a few years later and came back in. So it's one of those things that you can turn off and you can turn on. We do a few different ways of farming, and there's a couple ways you can go about it. We do a lot in the print material world, which I'll share with you. And because agents are struggling a little bit more in this market, you have less people sending print material out. And then also you can do digital, marketing as well. And Krista Mayshore, I think, does a great job about, kind of branding herself as a digital mayor of a community. I need to do better at that. That's something I need to incorporate more, I think, in the business to show up more in front of people online socially, not just print. And then I think it will marry well. And then you're just even more the obvious choice, if that makes sense. So what we do is we mail out a newsletter monthly, and through EXP, we have that relationship with Real Marketing. It's in our little EXP toolkit. And Real Marketing, this is not the one, but it prepares something very similar to this. This is one that we created that kind of branded off of what they were doing. So Real Marketing's come to EXPCon several times. So this is what they send out. And Gail DeMarco has been having great success at this. So Gail sends out monthly. What we're sending out is more of just a two-sided. This was our annual report that we did. So the annual report had current actives and pendings, what we sold that year. And I had sold like a couple over 3 million in that neighborhood, one for 2.95. It shows the map of what's active and pending. Kim's Corner, we always have something that my husband creates. It sounds like I would write it. So it's talking about year over year, what the prices did, are they resetting, what the Fed's doing, what interest rates are doing. Like this was put on, this is the 2024 recap. So it just says Kim's Corner, the median price for resale single family homes rose a whopping 19.4% in Lakemont last year. Whether this trend will continue in 2025 remains uncertain. Mortgage rates, despite a 0.75% rate cut, wouldn't that be nice, by the Federal Reserve since last September, have climbed to nearly 7%. So we have 7% interest rates, with future rate cuts likely to be limited due to inflation concerns. Affordability remains a challenge as local home values are about 20% higher than long-term income averages. Meanwhile, although the local unemployment rate is 0.1% below the national average of 4.2%, potential layoffs at companies like Boeing, Microsoft, and Amazon could affect the local economy. Housing inventory is starting to rise, but it's unclear if this will spark buyer demand or lead to a buildup of excess supply. Sellers may need to adapt pricing strategies as the market evolves. Staying informed and flexible will be key as we navigate the year ahead together. That was about a year and a half ago. So that came out. So there's always going to be, even in this newsletter, like this came out in March of 2026. As we move closer to the spring market, one factor we're watching closely is the recent upward movement in mortgage rates. You want to be informative. You want to have them, thinking about like you're that local expert. While rates remain historically moderate, even small increases can help influence buyer activity and overall market momentum here in the Lake Tapps area. The next Federal Reserve meeting is scheduled for March 17th and 18th. At this point, most analysts do not expect the Fed to make any changes to its benchmark rate, but markets will be paying close attention to any commentary that may signal the direction of future policy. Mortgage rates tend to respond quickly to those signals, so this meeting will be one to watch. On a local note, our team recently debuted 3 new Lake Tapps listings. One of those homes has already gone pending shortly after hitting the market, which reflects continued demand for well-positioned properties in this community. The other 2 homes remain available. We'd love to invite you to visit during one of our upcoming open houses. The dates and times are listed on the back of this report. For additional details, simply scan the QR code to access each property's dedicated website. Where there you will find a full 3D walkthrough, cinematic video, floor plan, and additional information. As always, please don't hesitate to reach out if you would like to schedule a complimentary consultation or discuss any real estate questions. Your real estate goals remain my number one priority. So then it says new listings, median list price, days on market, up or down, number of solds compared to a year ago. Median sales price was down 6.3 from a year before, and 2 under contract this year versus 3 a year before. And so on the back of this, we'll feature our listings. It has the QR code, so you can scan a QR code. It takes into what's called a landing page. On the landing page, it's basically their website. It's going to have the cinematic video of their property. It's going to have a link to their 3D Matterport walkthrough tour. It's going to have all the bullets for that property. It's going to have all of the photos. It's going to have the 40 pictures. It's going to have a description. It's going to have information about me. And so anybody who gets this, they can scan this and see the quality of marketing that they're getting. This scan right here would take them to my website, thekimfrasierteam.com. And then it shows more mortgage trends right there. And so this right here is our bread and butter. So this Chris creates for me. If you don't have the ability or want to spend the time creating it, Real Marketing can do that. You can find a lot of these templates off Etsy that you can buy, and then you plug and play the information. I haven't started playing with Grok and Claude yet as far as them being able to extract all the information. I think that there's a way. So Chris and I have been having the debate, my husband, on whether if I export the information, that I think it's smart enough that it can figure it out and put it in the format and build it for us. I think it's job security. Don't, if he watches this, shh, don't say I said that. But, I think that I'm trying to help him automate it so he's less stressed out about it. But I'm like, I think you can export this information and it can formulate it all for you. And you don't even, it's probably way more accurate. But we've been so busy, we haven't had the time to play with the AI tools to implement that and shortcut it. But I bet you could feed this information and it could come out and create something very similar that could save you a lot of time. The cost of this mailer, we went ahead and leased, I don't know if I've told you guys this before, but about 2 years ago, we leased a commercial printer from Canon. It's about 16 feet long. It sits in an office in my house. You can get smaller versions. We just went with the second to the biggest because we do a lot of, like, 15,000 newsletters is a lot to crank out in a couple days. So we went ahead and I've leased that. It's about $1,400 a month. And I pay 1.1 cent per black and white copy and 4.3 cents for each click. So each click. So like 111 by 17 on this side is 4.3. So this would be a double sheet. And then on the back side, it's a double sheet. Cut it in half. So each newsletter cost me 4.3 cents plus 10 cents for the paper is what it breaks out to being about maybe 5 cents. So I'm at about 9 to 10 cents per newsletter. And then we use Every Door Direct Marketing. So it seems like a lot when you're leasing the printer, and they do give you like 3,000 free copies initially. And then, and then like X amount of color and X amount of black and white. But when you're starting to do this on scale, like this costs me $7,000, $8,000 a month with postage now, where before it would cost me about 15,000,
Hey, Kim,
yes.
can I ask you a question? First of all, you're not in that room printing yourself, are you?
No, my team is.
Okay, good.
It's a
So,
sweatshop in there, Andy.
but let's roll this back because what I loved about you is you started talking about how you started at 5 to 1,000 homes, which is great. We've been teaching that for years to really get to that. When do you feel like you go to the next level? And is it you get a transaction or two, then you doubled it? What was the migration through that? It was based on money and income?
I think you have more money to invest. I think you have more money to, like, you've got some money, you feel a little comfortable that you can branch out, either expand in that neighborhood or break into another one.
Yeah.
It's all about the finances, right? Because you have to be able to sustain what you're doing and add on and not drop the ball as far as like when
I'm glad you said that.
you can,
'Cause
it's all about money, right? And so as you start selling more houses, you can do more, right? So like right now, I've got 43 pending and closed sales for the year so far, right? For 49 million in volume. And we're middle of the year, right? And so like this year is a good year, right? Like we're doing great. But I would say the year I came to EXP, I did 81 million in volume, 1.7 GCI in commission. Okay. And then 2022 happened and I did 57 million. Nobody likes going backwards. But before I came to EXP, I was 81 million, 76. I'll go backwards. 81 million, 40 million at John L. Scott, 41 million here, whatever. But then before that was 76 million, 67 million, 62 million, 65 million, 60 to 70 million, made the move 81 million, right? 2021 was a good year. Rates were low, a lot easier to sell houses. 2022, we did about 57 million. 2023, we went to 41 or 49. Maybe 2020. No, 2023 was 37 million. So it dropped another 15 million. That's about 400,000 in income. Okay, that's not the income. My expenses, I pretty much stay the same because I'm not really good at pivoting. I just take less money home because I like to sign up for everything, as you know. I sign up for everything. I'm like, I want that. I want 5 subscriptions to this, but then I never cut it because I don't want to like cut stuff out. But then I don't implement what I have, so I'm really bad at that. So
Hey,
don't.
hey, hey, Kim, I got to ask you another question. And you
Yes.
talk so fast. I love you. You
Oh,
get
I'll slow
you
down.
get like 2 hours worth of information in 40 minutes somehow. I know you personally. I know your work ethic. I know all this stuff, but I want to make this tactical for people because you're throwing some numbers out that are huge, right?
Mhm.
How do people get started in this? So sweat
Yeah,
equity, check
yeah,
equity, right?
100%.
And then
100%.
so let's say they picked
Yes.
500 homes. What would you do if you rolled back the clock to the people listening to the call that I want to be like Kim, I want to do 100
Absolutely.
million, I want to do 40 million,
Absolutely. Yeah. And so what does that say? Real estate ebbs and flows. That's where I was going with that, right? Some years you're gonna have great years, other years you might get cut 20, 30, 40%. Some because of you, some because of the market,
right?
right? I feel like so don't be hard on yourself, even if it's a tough year, because you're gonna have years where it goes up and you're gonna have years where it goes down. Okay. So that's all I was trying to get to with that because it's cyclical, right? And
Well,
sometimes
what you said that's brilliant is you stayed with it during those up and downs
you
because then you're growing that, right? Because
have to.
agents don't plan ahead, then they shut it down and they lose the momentum that they built
Yeah,
over the 6 months, a year, whatever they were farming it,
absolutely.
right?
And whenever you're self-employed, you have to treat it like a business, right? So you have to keep investing in a business. Like if you were to go start a company, a pizza place or a teriyaki shop or a clothing store, you're not making money. You're not really profitable for numerous years, right? Because everything goes back in the business, everything goes back in the business, everything goes back in the business. In real estate, we have a tendency to take the commission, spend it, blow it. We're not reinvesting back in the business. So that's, I think, where we fail and we fail. And this is a sharp group here. I can see right here. You have a lot of sharp people on the board. So it's like these are average and above average agents, right? Like they're not like very, very beginner newbie people. So I think the biggest thing is you need to set aside money that's marketed and air tag for that you don't touch because you're not going to grow your business unless you have resources to help you grow your business. When you're brand new and you don't have resources, you have time. You have time. You have legs, hopefully, that work. You have time. See these little things, these little door hangers for my brand new listing with the QR code bringing it to the landing page with the open house date that I invited them to. Guess how many miles I walked a year and a half ago delivering these as a 22-year-old top 1% veteran. I walked 19 miles in 2 days in this community of 4,700 homes with my husband, with 2 of my daughters, and 2 of our grandkids, and we hired someone else. And guess what? We could have mailed this every door direct for cheaper. I could have mailed these to their mailboxes for cheaper than walking them. This isn't even including my time
Yeah,
because my time, if I build
several
that out,
legs.
do you know what I mean? But when they walked up, we wanted them to see that on the door handle, not in their mailbox. But
Mm.
because we wanted this on their door handle when they came up, we walked it. Not because I couldn't afford to do it. I could afford to mail it, but we wanted the impact of them walking up and having it on their door handle. So there's going to be things that you're going to do in the business. And like when we were new and we had a lot of kids, I mean, I can't tell you dozens of times we've walked the neighborhood, put postcards, put flyers, put, little plastic bags with door hangers. You shove things in a little plastic bag and you put it on the door handle. When money was tight and we didn't have the postage, we walked it. I don't like door knocking because I don't like when people door knock me, so I don't door knock other people. So any of you that have heard me talk in the past, you'll know that I won't do to people what I don't want done to myself. So I don't chase people. I'm not going to. I don't like it when people are high pressure to me, so I don't do it to them. I probably lose money from not doing that, but I just don't. It's not I'm not comfortable with it. So this is the way that we've felt like if I can get in front of the people and have the conversation, I can close the deal, right? So the newsletter's been really crucial. If you don't have the money to do every door direct marketing, which is about 21, 22 cents per mailing, you can door knock these, put them on a door, put them in a bag and hang them if you can walk them. I don't think that's the most efficient use of your time. That's why it's better off to start smaller. And there are print companies like Bear Printing in Oregon does a great job. They're pretty affordable and they have a good quality product. I think the most important thing too, whatever you do, you guys, you have to make sure the quality is top notch because it's going to represent you and it's going to represent the quality of the marketing that you're going to give their listing. This came off of my home printer and you can kind of see it's a pretty good quality piece. Like even though it came off my printer at home. So those are the things. Here's one that I get for Bear Printing when I do a higher end listing. If you guys haven't used Bear Printing out of Oregon, they'll mail to you, they'll ship to you. They really do a top-notch job. So whatever you do, whatever you put out, you want to make sure that it's sharp. Also, when it comes to farming, if you're going to be doing open houses, I still do open houses as a veteran agent. So I highly encourage open houses, even if you do just one day a month or you do 2 weekends a month, but you need to get out there because your signs are your billboards. Those signs are your little teeny mini billboards working for you all across town. You want to try to double up and have your open houses be in the farm area that you're working. So when I was a brand new agent, I didn't have my own listings because I was a brand new agent. So I would borrow other people's listings and I would set their open houses. Now, the neighborhood that I got started at, sitting open houses, I've been the dominant agent in this market for 20 years. But 24 years ago, I started sitting open houses. And I would borrow other agents' listings. And the one gal is probably hates that she ever gave me an opening to get in because over time we just incrementally took over the market, right? And last year I sold 2 houses on the lake that I live on. This year I'll sell about 16. So don't give up. So even though, and I've sold 8 before, 7 before, last year was a really kind of bleak year on the lake, not a lot of movement. And I did not have the market share last year. The one agent did like 7. Now that agent will sell 3 this year and I'll sell 16. So it ebbs and flows. So don't get discouraged because you know what? I could have quit. And been like, gosh, you know what? I'm not marketing there this year. That sucked last year. Maybe I mean, I probably made 20 grand still. It wasn't like we didn't make any money, but for the amount of effort we put into it, it wasn't one of those years where they fell in our favor. But this year we could end up with 20 by the end of the season, right? So it's consistency, it's continuity, it's being the obvious choice, it's being the expert in the area. So when you're farming, you need to make sure that you're the most knowledgeable agent in that market, right? Because if you're not, then they're going to go with somebody else who is. I haven't done this. I need to set up a YouTube channel. I don't have, I mean, I have a YouTube channel, but not speaking to these neighborhoods. YouTube's huge, you guys, right now. So you can also use YouTube, which just costs you your time and maybe somebody on Fiverr to actually create your video and your thumbnails. You can do it yourself. You can teach yourself. So it'll cost you nothing. You can get a really nice GoPro. You can get, I mean, our friend Gail, look at Gail's, YouTube right now. She has over 100,000 subscribers. I don't know if you guys saw Gail DeMarco. If you don't follow Gail DeMarco, you guys, you need to. Her and I spoke in Hawaii a couple months ago, and her farming, she just moved from California to Florida, for those of you that don't know. And she's in St. Augustine, and she's probably 22-year veteran. It's been almost 15 years. She's got less time in the 90, probably 15-year veteran, moved bi-coastally. She's 67 now. She was 65 when she made the move. She used the real marketing pieces to farm 2 neighborhoods in Florida, and they're 300 to 500 home neighborhoods, 55 plus. She's taken, as of 2 months ago, over 50 listings from those 2 neighborhoods, hundreds of thousands of dollars in commission from using this. She also puts a lender on there, so they split the cost, so it's half price. So you can put a lender in there and get the cost down, but she's had great success with that. So you can always reach out to Gail also. She's pretty much an open book with that, but she's doing a lot with her YouTube channel in St. Augustine. And so she's gone from being an agent who had 0 business to doing really, really good clip of business. And I think she was one of the top, so like the top small team or something, wasn't she, Randy, last month for EXP for Florida. So she's top 10 for sure. But so that's something that she did. So YouTube, I would do YouTube around your farm. I would do open houses. I would do social media posts. I would interview businesses. I would do promotions. I would do events, Easter egg hunt, 4th of July parade, Christmas pictures with Santa, all of these things. And if somebody else is doing it, who cares? There was somebody else doing all the other markets that I marketed to also, until you become the obvious choice. And you just claw away at it. You just like, what is that? Like you're just like a little bit, you're just grabbing a little teeny bit of market share every single week, every single month, and you keep showing up consistency. I think consistency is the easiest thing for agents to give up on in this business because we get busy and we're easily distracted. And so the more consistent you can become, also getting a virtual assistant, if you don't have one, a VA can put all this stuff together for you. But you do need to show up. You do need to be present in the community, and you do need to show up at open houses. So I look at an open house, like even if nobody else shows up, they see my signs. And we'll put out anywhere from 10 to 20 signs for an open house. We put balloons on them. We go to the Dollar Tree, and the balloons will last you for the weekend, $1.25 each. And so everything's going to have a balloon on it. So when they drive by, so there's a local broker, who owns a small brokerage, about 125 agents. And he and I were talking about 6 weeks ago, and he's a great guy. I talked to him right when he came to EXP. I was like, hey, you should come join me. But he has his own little independent brokerage and he's happy there. And he told his agents recently, he said, you know what? I became the topic of conversation somehow at the meeting. And he said, I told the agents just recently at a meeting, they're like, you need to be more like Kim. She's 20 plus years in the business and she's the hardest working agent in our market. There's no, like, she's always out there every single weekend putting the time in. He's like, I can go to SeaTac Airport, which is the Seattle Tacoma International Airport. And my house is about 20 miles from there. He's like joking. He said, I could literally go from SeaTac Airport to Lake Tapps by following Kim's open house signs. That was a little stretch, but he was just using it as an example of making sure your marketing's out there and you're on brand so people can find you and follow you. I have people come up and they're like, I think you're literally the only person working this weekend because you're the only person with open house signs out there. So if you want to gain market share and you want to be known as a neighborhood expert, you have to show up. You guys, I'm showing up after, 20 plus years doing this, but now it's very easy. Like like I probably, if I go to 100 listing appointments, I'm coming away with at least 90 of them, probably 9 out of 10, and that might be even conservative. But the thing is, we outmarket them. I have more market knowledge. They see that their home's going to get the exposure. So if you just them that you're showing up every day and you're working hard and you're knowledgeable of the area. And then a lot of it, like I said, is outmarketing them. We do cinematic videos. We do 3D mat reports. Their brochures, even a normal listing, their brochure is going to look like this, in my farm area. If it's outside of my farm area, it'll be like a two-sided like this. This is a newsletter, but it'll be more of a two-sided outside of our farm area. But heavy cardstock. It's not going to be a flimsy piece of paper like this receipt. Like whatever you do it to the best of your ability. And for those of you that are Christians, do it to the glory of God, because guess what? We're here for a short time and work to the best of your ability. And God gave us these abilities and skills that you have, and don't squander what he gave you. I think it's very easy to Cadillac things and to take things, slowly. And there are seasons, right? Like when I was raising my kids, I did less volume, but that was intentional because I wanted to be at every baseball game. I was a Little League baseball president for 7 years for my local Little League, which my Little League team, my high school alma mater, we just took the 4A state baseball championship, which I was very proud of because we sucked when I was in school. But of those Little League kids, the 23 kids on the team, 20 of them were in my Little League from the time they were 4 and 5 years old in T-ball and coach pitch to the time their 12U season. I was a president that entire time, those 7 years. I was so proud. I literally drove myself an hour and a half north to go watch our team play and go see those families, because guess what? There's more to life than real estate. There's more than life than just working all the time. But that was something like real estate. Baseball was my therapy for real estate. And I love baseball and I love kids. So I wanted to get back to the community. So like I showed up and I didn't do real estate, Little League. These people know that I sell real estate, right? But those conversations I had with them have never been about real estate. It's about the kids and about our community. So giving back and being present. And then eventually the deals come. But I think, there's seasons of your life where you work more. My kids are grown now. They're 24 to 34. So I'm able to spend more time working and building something. And like for me this year, my goal is to hit the number one spot in our company. And then like Tom here, when he was the number one at Remax around the world, not Remax, Keller Williams, not Remax, sorry, Keller Williams. I know that. Keep it on your toes. When he was the number one Keller Williams agent in the world, I just want to hit that one time. We'll see if I want to hit it the next year. But I just feel like it's a bucket list thing that I want to do. If I'm going to do it, I want to do it to the best of my ability and be the best agent that I can be. So I think if you're going to start farming, find a great area, find a great niche, find a great spot. And if there's another agent, don't let them scare you away.
No doubt you're going to hit that, Kim.
I'm
Come on.
trying.
And then we're
I'm
going
gonna
to have
call
you
my
back and we're going
database.
to celebrate for sure. Russell Enyart wants to know what the system is to get the leads from mail delivery to lead appointment to conversion. What is the
Well,
system?
it's just that you can't control the outcome of when they're going to call you, right? Like I have people that say, "Oh my gosh, I've been saving your newsletter for 10 years." They have files and they save these. And then they go to sell 5 or 10 years later and they call. So there's really no I don't track it that well. My personality type does not allow me to. I'm kind of like a crazy squirrel. And so I just throw a lot of spaghetti at the wall, and I'm not like I sent out 1,000 newsletters and one person contacted me. I'm just not that person. I just keep going repetitiously. But then when I get the call, I have a 90+% closing ratio, right? So, what's my system? I think that's what Russell's asking.
Well, the scan goes to her listings. So what other scan are
Russell, do you
you?
want to pop on and talk?
Yeah, I'm like she mentioned that the scans go to
Well,
the
Matt's
listing.
asking questions now. My question is, okay, you send out 1,000 flyers. You just have your phone number on them and you pick up the phone. That's your system.
Or they call. I mean, they can call, they can DM me, they can go to my website. There's 1,000 different ways. But yeah, just like anything else, they see your open house sign, they see your sign writer, they pick up your flyer, and they're like, "Hey, I just picked up your flyer. Is your listing available? I'm thinking about buying a house," or or you meet them at an open house. So yeah, I mean, you really can't like call 15,000 people, right? And then now with the do not call list, things like that. I do not call my farm areas. There's too much liability. And number one, it's just if I was going to call people, I'd actually call my database, not random cold calls, you know. But yeah, there really isn't. There's when you're farming, the follow-up system is continuing to show up. The follow-up system is continuing to be present. Show up at the open house, invite them to your open houses, things like that, because that's where you're going to get the face-to-face and hopefully you can build rapport with them. But you don't really have these people's phone numbers. You have their address, right? You might be able to do a deeper farm. If you're doing 500, you might be able to follow them on Facebook, and then try to build a relationship that way. And maybe they'll follow your business page back, or you'll just follow their personal page. So that's something that you could do. You could somehow figure out how to target market people where they see your ads, floating around on social media. But I don't think there's a real great way other than your handwriting notes to them. Hey, I'm going to be mailing to you for the next 7 years until one day you decide to sell your house. That's the other thing too with social media. I mean, with mailings. The average person since COVID happened, and since our low interest rates, it used to be every 7 years on average someone would move, and now it's probably closer to 9 to 10. So it's more of a long game on farming, but I'll make probably $1 million this year from farming,
Mm,
really close to it. So
hmm
it's the long game. It's the long
So,
game, and it's
so Kim, just
volume.
for clarification, your call to action is essentially your phone number on the flyer, and
Yeah.
then you field the phone calls. And when you field the
Mhm.
phone calls, you're just a
Set appointment.
fantastic agent. You set up appointment for a listing, and you go land the listing, and
Mhm.
you're on your way.
Yep.
Got
Just
it.
try to build rapport like any cold call. Like, hey, and what's interesting now too is I think we need to be more intentional with AI too, because I've had a couple listings recently. They're like, who's the best agent in Bonnie Lake? And I got two listing appointments that just were like, who's the best real estate agent in this area? And then it recommended me with like a whole reason why. And so that's super cool. So there's a way, maybe a Phil Stringer conversation would be, how to get, front of top of mind and get on these lists for AI, or, John Lee or something, he does that as well, being top of mind and getting those calls on AI. But I would try to circle everything back to a small vicinity. I would probably try to keep it as close to your house as possible starting out, and then just become the go-to person. And then you just kind of bleed out from there. And what's going to happen is there are more people that know who I am than I know who they are, just because I've been doing this for 20 plus years in a small geographic area, right? So people already feel like they know me. Maybe they follow me on social, they see my signs. So there's a little bit of, I probably am guilty now of maybe not, of getting not normal listings, 6 to 7, 5 to 800,000 listings as much, because a lot of what I do is luxury. And so then people are like, oh, I'm afraid to call her. She would not take my listing or not take that. So I try to be very intentional with the marketing to give everybody equal treatment. Now I can do more things on luxury listings on farming than I can in marketing than I can with a lower price point house, because you can't put it in the luxury magazine. You can't do certain things like that. You can't boost it. But I would just say, find with a good area. And the other thing too, new construction, if you're thinking new construction, those do not transact really quickly right away
hmm
because they're new. It's like, so I would say older demographic does better than younger demographic,
hmm
40 plus. Younger demographic is more Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. And it's okay for us, I'm 55, for us seasoned people to be, you can do a TikTok. You can do Instagram. Don't let that just be for the young kids. There's huge niches for that too. And
hmm
so you can also farm to those. So I wouldn't leave any stone unturned. I think the least expensive out of pocket is probably digital.
Hmm.
A few digital farms, and you can circle prospect and go do things in the neighborhood and keep tagging that community back into it. You can create a community page and put community events. You can become the person who manages that, which can be a little crazy because people are crazy and you're policing people. But you can create community involvement there. So it doesn't just have to be in print. Print is just what we've done at a high level. And I probably need to incorporate more on the digital and community front than just that. But there's several different ways that you can farm a community.
Well, it's working for you, Kim. So, I mean, maybe you might want to entertain going to the Sphere or a digital marketing piece to get to that
I think I need
top
to.
slot.
Yeah.
But I think it's working for you for sure. Before we let Kim go, I wanted to give our attendees an opportunity to ask any other questions. If there's any other questions that people might have for Kim before we sign off, raise your hand or unmute. But we're looking forward to next week's huddle. I'm going to turn it over to Matt here in a second if we don't have any other questions to introduce our guest for next week. But we obviously really, really value your time, Kim, and all your input. I think it's a direct reflection on just consistency. I know so many people spit out one farm, don't get anything, and think, oh, it didn't work, and then they move on. So I think that, the consistency and not giving up is a strong message. And I did put the link for the bear printing out of Oregon in the chat. For people that don't know you, Kim, where can they find you for follow-up questions or more information?
Here in the chat, Kim Frasier Realtor, or they can email me either to my EXP or here, Kim Frasier Realtor. They can call me, email me. I'll just type it in really quickly here. Kim Frasier Realtor is my Instagram, and then Kim at the Kim Frasier team. You can always do my EXP one too because it'll get back to me. And
Okay,
then my phone
perfect.
number. And then
Thank you, Kim. Appreciate it. And then another reminder, thank you, Jackie, to go to the hub, find our group Now Nation for the recorded video of this. We also have the Facebook group, Now Nation. Matthew, Stewart, where are you?
Yeah,
Let's
I'm here. I just want to make sure I don't want to see those numbers in attendance drop down before you find out what's going on next week. That would be a mistake that you don't want to do. Next week, hey, just let me ask you, everybody here, if we brought someone in that had sold over 2,000 homes, is a coach in real estate, a business coach, actually built a team that was doing over 300 sides a year in her first 5 years in the business her first 5 years. Okay. And then she went on and scaled that business to where she sold it. And now she's coaching other realtors how to do it. We have secured her to come in next week and teach and train and so on. She sold her business for a 7-figure valuation, you guys. Like, no joke. That doesn't just always happen to realtors, let me tell you. It's rare. You could ask Don Yoakum or Randy Bird, any of them, about that. But you don't want to miss her. Her name is Stacy Peterson. And by the way, she did this in like this really populous state, like this hugely populated state of like the Dakotas, North
Hmm.
Dakota, I think, or South Dakota. Like she's no joke. So I put earlier in the chat, some make excuses and some have reasons for why they were able to do things. Like Kim is an example of that. She just goes in and does it. She works her butt off and she's a rock star. Well, we're
Let's
bringing in
go.
another one next week. So don't miss it, 10 a.m. So what you want to do is you don't want to just show up yourself. You actually want to invite a friend. Bring a buddy in real estate. This is not just EXP. So if you got a Remax buddy or a Century 21 buddy, you're like, hey, I'm not trying to recruit you, man. Like seriously, you can't come to EXP. But if you want to learn to grow your business, we got an amazing guest, and I thought of you, and I love you, and I want you to come. So be a fly on the wall. You don't even have to turn your camera on if you don't want to. Take the pressure off them. But anyway, let's blow it up next week. Thank you, Kim, so much
Thank
for
you, Kim,
spending
for
time.
pouring into everybody. That was awesome.
So
Yeah.
good. Thank you so much, Kim.
Love you
Put
guys
us
so
in
All
much.
day.
chat. She'll be
Awesome.
#1, and we'll be celebrating that soon.
Yes, number one. Go, Kim.
Guys,
Thank
I
you,
have to make a
Kim.
difference. We could
Yeah,
partner.
thanks, Kim.
Awesome.
Guys,
Well, thank you all for being here next week, same time, same place. Now Nation for total domination. Y'all got your inspiration. Time to put in the perspiration. Let's go. See you next week. Thanks.
I
Bye
love
now.
Tom's goodbye.